to add partition. And we'll talk about what partitions are. I mean, you looked at it in IT-1100 a little bit. We'll revisit that when I get to the partition section. We're just setting this up for later use. And then it will ask us, after we add partition, we'll go in and specify the size. Once again, this is just an example. You need to go back to the assignment description to figure out how big your partition needs to be. So I carved this one. This is a 3 gig. I said it's an ext4 partition. This is going to be our root file system. And then I went and added, I skipped a couple screens, but I added another partition and I'm of 512 meg, and I made it swap. So instead of right here under format, we can click on that or hit enter on it and choose swap. And then, anyway, that's the basic way to create your file systems. And I said only create the ones that we need. Only create the root partition, only create swap. Leave the rest as free space, and then we'll carve that up later. That help? Okay, other questions or problems?
For the SFTP simple, can we go over that one a little bit again, since we're going to be doing?
Yeah, I'm not finished with that one yet, so
okay.
Let's jump back to that one.
That's the one that we're going to be working on now, so I wanted to see if I could get it like a refresher. That's the next one.
Okay, so remember our objective here is to install an MTA, well, MTA/MDA, which we're using XM as the software package that we're using. I'm gonna speed kind of through this a little bit because we already got 15 slides down or something. So we apt-get install, then we immediately reconfigure. After we reconfigure, we come to this menu. The first main question asks us what type of site this is. And we're supposed to choose that second one down. Mail is sent by a smart host. We identified that as Stu Mail. But we're going to receive email directly from the internet.
It's all going on our mail server.
This is on our system that we've set up, that we've identified as our mail machine, yes. So then we're going to put our fully qualified domain name of our machine for our system mail. Okay, thank you. And then we want a semicolon separated list of IP addresses on which we should listen on. If we do not add anything there, it will only listen on the local private address, which no one will be able to get to. So we're going to hit semicolon, and we're going to put the IP address of our machine there so that it will listen on its public IP address. I explained this one on Friday. We want to receive mail right now for this assignment. We want to receive mail for anyone that has the thegummibear.com after the @ sign. So joe@thegummibear.com or joe@mail.thegummibear.com. We're going to receive mail for both of those final destinations.
So it would just be, the @ symbol is not there, so you would just kind of hit it, say, so it's joe@thegummibear.com. It would only receive anything from that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So if you name, in DNS, if you named your machine, instead of following my nice simple guidelines of mail, if you named yours My Little Pony or whatever, then you put, if you're going to allow them to send mail to joe@mylittlepony.thegummibear.com, that's what you put there. But you'll for sure put your domain there, and then I would also list your fully qualified domain name of your mail machine there as well. Okay, outgoing smart host, we said that, Stu Mail, great. Okay, and we don't want to care about that, say no. Put it in inbox format for your mail messages, and split configuration of the small files, no, that's fine. So I think that's kind of where we got to last time. And then we restart XM, just to make sure. We'll go check our var log syslog, just to see if it started, okay. Well, it says started, that's not that useful, but we could also do, on most of these, like I was showing you a second ago, we could also do a sudo, what was it, service bind9 status, or sudo service xm4 status. It will give us the status of whether it's running or not. So that could be useful. Okay, all of our new configs are over here in Etsy XM4. So the one file that wizard generated is this Etsy XM4 update-xm4conf.conf, and we looked at that. We could go edit this directly if we understood what it was doing, but we could also break things if we don't understand what the lines are doing. So typically if you break, or you need to go back to that wizard, just run that command that was on the very first slide. Sudo dpackage reconfigure XM4 whatever it was. So, all right, okay. We talked about the log files. So, the main log has all the information from the mail messages that might be coming in or going out. What were the other two logs besides the main log? There's syslog that can give us information about our mail server, but in particular for XM, there's main log, panic log for fatal errors, and reject log for messages that come in that we don't have a destination for. All right, so that's actually where we go. So we only have start-stop messages in there. So we now need to go add an MX record on our DNS server. I think we did talk about that as well, but it doesn't hurt to review. So here's the two lines that I added. What does the @ sign mean again? In our bind file.
Domain name?
That's our domain name. So what it says is if I have a request, and what does it mean a request? Well, remember we said when our MUA, we type our message joe@thegumbybear.com. When I hit send, it goes back to my mail transport agent, and my mail transport agent is going to say, hey, I have this mail message, I need to go do a DNS lookup to figure out where I deliver this email message. So it's going to do a DNS request for an MX record. It's going to go ask, my name servers, is there an MX record for thegumbybear.com? And this line created one. That creates an MX record for thegumbybear.com. So it would respond saying, hey, you need to send all emails to this machine called mail. And mail, down here in the lower portion, mail has this IP address. So I've given them back the IP address. Now we can go send my, my TCP, my UDP, or my IP datagram over to that machine because we have their IP address. The second line is just for completeness, because if a user sends mail to foo or whatever user at mail.thegumbybear.com, we will also send back, hey, if you're sending a message to foo@mail.thegumbybear.com, this is the machine that needs to receive it. I know, I have it in here twice, mail and mail. I'm just going to go back down to the. And last time I was trying to explain, like if this server that we set up, if it was called Pinkie Pie, it's my little phone. If it was called Pinkie Pie, then up here I'd put Pinkie Pie and Pinkie Pie because mail should be sent to the server called Pinkie Pie.
So you wouldn't change that mail to Pinkie Pie if you're doing Pinkie Pie. So it's only those three, not that.
Well, whatever this guy's name right here, whatever this name is, that's what I put over here on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And, okay, I guess we're going to do it a little bit differently later on. Really, I should say, if you have a message for Pinkie Pie, send it to, anyway. So I would change that left one too.
Okay. So just have all four of them.
I would, yes. That's a good way of looking at it. Have all four say the same thing. Increment serial number, restart bind. So there's my increment, restart bind. Did it load correctly? So whatever, you can look at your syslog. I did a grep command just to see if it loaded correctly. It did. Then I did some dig tests. So for the gumbybear.com, gave me back an MX record. And it did. It said the MX record back. There it is. Gave me back the entry. Awesome. So it looked like my dig test was working. I did some dig tests upstream as well. I asked Google's name server to give me the same information. Good. It populated throughout the DNS hierarchy. Things look like they're okay. I did do some tests on the slave as well. So, all right, so now, back on the mail server, we need to send some messages. Now, we do not have a mail user agent that's nice and pretty yet. We don't have Outlook or Thunderbird or whatever. We have to do all this via command line. So, I created a few users for some testing. We know how to do that. Add user Alice. Awesome.